The movie starts with an accident and a woman being carried on a stretcher by people from the Hanka Robotics. They are dressed in red, wearing hoods and futuristic glasses that show red letters and numbers. The woman on the stretcher is in bad shape. We can hear a voice say her oxygen levels are dropping, but her brain function is still normal. This means she's ready for what they call a brain rescue. Suddenly, mechanical arms place a human brain inside a metal skeleton shaped like a human. The robot floats and moves toward a white liquid that completes its new body. This liquid forms a layer over the robot, creating a white synthetic skin that looks a lot like real human skin once it dries. And that way, they have created a humanoid robot that doesn't need artificial intelligence, just a human brain. Then the cyborg wakes up feeling like she's choking and realizes Dr. Ouélet is next to her. The doctor quickly asks if she remembers anything about an attack or something like that. Mira, as we now know her name, looks confused and says the only thing she remembers is drowning, surrounded by water. Lots of water. Dr. Ouélet confirms this, explaining that she was on a refugee boat that was supposedly sunk by terrorists. Mira then says she can't feel her body. Dr. Ouélet tells her they saved her, but her body was so damaged that only her brain survived. But the corporation built her a new body. So, her original body was replaced with a synthetic shell. Now, she's basically a robot, with her brain, mind, and soul, her ghost, as the only human parts left. Mira panics and starts trying to move, struggling to break free from whatever is holding her to the bed. Dr. Ouélet quickly calls for the nurses to handle it, then leaves the room. Outside, she meets a man who turns out to be the owner of the company. He asks if all of this will actually work.
Will it work?
Dr. Ouélet confidently replies that it will, saying that what they've achieved is nothing short of a miracle. She is a miracle.
She's a miracle.
Ouélet explains, a machine cannot lead. It can only follow orders. A machine cannot imagine, empathize, or intuit. But a human mind and a cybernetic body can do all of that. She makes it clear that successfully merging a human brain with a synthetic body is the greatest achievement these scientists have ever accomplished. The man immediately responds that once the machine is operational, she will join Section 9. A year later, we find ourselves among the towering skyscrapers of a highly futuristic city, filled with holograms everywhere, in 2D and 3D, and glowing neon lights. Hanka Robotics guarantees personal safety against external threats. The radio broadcasts a cybercrime alert, and luckily, Section 9 is already in the area. Mira stands atop a tall building, observing the bustling movement of the city below. She has now reached the rank of major within her section. Using her built-in radio, she communicates with a man in a Japanese suit. The man tells her that her task is to observe, analyze, and report. The scene shifts, and we see a robot designed to look like a Japanese geisha walking toward a man seated at a table with several others. One of them places his thumb on a strange glowing device, which releases thin threads that attach to his skin. Meanwhile, another man sitting across from him closes his eyes as a cable connected to his brain starts receiving the melody of a song. This is how people share memories and thoughts in this future world. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, this same situation is being monitored by Major and her boss, Aramaki. They've realized they're not the only ones watching. It's now Major's job to trace where this data is being transmitted. Using robotic binoculars and advanced technology, they scan the entire hotel, constructing a digital replica of the place. The signal leads them directly to the leader of the African Federation, who is meeting with Dr. Osmond of Hanka Robotics. But someone else is spying on them too. Suddenly, the elevator doors open, and a group of cyborgs bursts out, shooting at the hotel staff and pulling weapons from the briefcases they brought. Major spots this and contacts her partner, who informs her that Section 9 is still some time away from reaching the hotel. Major decides to go in alone. She removes her cloak and gets ready for the big leap. Meanwhile, the men in the meeting continue their conversation. The geisha robot pours some sake for Dr. Osmond, but doesn't stop. When he tries to stop her, she forcefully bends one of his fingers and smashes the plate over his head. Other robotic geishas attack the men in the room. As this unfolds, Major free falls from the top of a building, her shell activating its invisibility as she descends. Inside the conference room, the armed cyborgs storm in, firing relentlessly. Once most of the people in the room are eliminated, a hooded man connected to a network of cables gives the order to start the hack. It turns out Dr. Osmond is also a cyborg. The geisha robot restrains him and connects cables to the back of his neck to hack into him. Suddenly, an invisible force starts taking out all the bad guys. The geisha robot, now with spider-like abilities, scrambles to protect Dr. Osmond, but within seconds, most of the robot's heads begin to explode. Major, using her invisibility, crashes through the glass window and starts shooting all the enemy robots, including the spider geisha holding Dr. Osmond. The geisha begs for her life. As Major points her gun at her, a voice suddenly speaks through the geisha saying, "Anyone who collaborates collaborates with Hanka Robotics will be destroyed.
Collaborate with Hanka Robotics and be destroyed.
Without hesitation, Major finishes her off. The rest of the team arrives just in time to stop one of the survivors from detonating a bomb that would have destroyed the entire place. One of her teammates points out to Mira that she's injured, but she slips away using her invisibility suit. Back in what looks like her resting pod, Mira is connected to a network of cables. She passes through a scanning chamber and injects a liquid into the connection points at the back of her neck. Now, she's ready to head back out. Determined, Mira goes to the Department of Defense to meet with Section 9. There, they begin investigating Dr. Osmond, who, by the way, didn't make it. It turns out he was a cyber-enhanced human and the former head of Hanka's robotics division. That same night, the attack wasn't just on him. 3 other Hanka scientists were killed at the company's central lab. 2 were shot, and the 3rd was beaten to death by their own service robot. Here, we learn that the person behind all these attacks is Kuzi, the hooded figure from earlier, whose mission is to destroy Hanka Robotics. The chief orders Major and Batou to find out what the geisha hacked from Dr. Osmond. But before they leave, the chief asks to speak to Major alone, questioning her about disobeying his order not to jump that night. She tells him that if she hadn't, more people would have died. She vows to find Kuz and kill him, saying that's what she was created for. The chief reminds her that she is more than just a weapon. She has a soul, a ghost. After this, we return to the streets, filled with holographic ads promoting cyber enhancements for everyone, even small children. Batou asks Major what happened that night, but she insists she's fine. They then head to an alley where Batou feeds some stray dogs, arguably the sweetest scene in the entire movie. Later, they're in a car, with Batou driving. As he asks Major about her past, she tells him she doesn't remember anything.
You don't talk about that stuff, huh?
What?
Your past.
Well, I don't remember much. Just fragments, bits and pieces.
But then, she starts having visions of things suddenly appearing in the street, which unsettles her. They eventually arrive at Hanka Robotics headquarters, where Major meets with Dr. Ouélet. The doctor begins repairing Major's damaged arm from the hotel fight. Before leaving, Major confesses she's been experiencing strange episodes in her mind, which she refers to as brain glitches. Dr. Ouélet admits that Major has a past and suggests that, in time, she will feel more connected to it. She just needs to be patient. Once repaired, Major and Batou head to Hanka's restricted areas to meet with Dr. Deline, who is performing the autopsy on the geisha robot. Her findings reveal that the geisha was originally a Hanka companion bot but had been reprogrammed to carry out brain hacks. Its brain was wiped clean, leaving no trace of the data it transmitted. Major decides to dive in. Enter the geisha's database to try to recover information. It's a risky move, but she insists it's the fastest way to track Kuze. She trusts Batou, telling him to disconnect her if anything strange happens to keep her alive.
Are you sure?
You see any bad code headed my way, pull me up.
Major lies on the examination table and begins the dive, entering a virtual space that feels like swimming through a pool of code. Inside, she encounters a replica of the shootout scene from that night, but she discovers a corridor where she sees the hooded man modifying one of the robots. He notices her, and suddenly, she's thrown backward into a pile of robot corpses that begin to swarm and try to overpower her. Dr. Dahlin warns that Major is being hacked and says she can't disconnect her yet. Batou demands she do it immediately. Finally, they manage to pull Major out of the dive just in time. Major now knows where Kuze is. She heads there with Batou, discovering it's a seedy bar in the futuristic city. Batou admits he knows the place. It's infamous for trafficking robotic parts. This is when they activate their mental communication. As Batou walks along the street looking for a hidden entrance, Major heads into the bar, trying to find a way down to the basement. She gets her chance when a couple of men invite her to have some fun in private. Once downstairs, she's handcuffed to a pipe, and an older man attempts to touch her against her will. She tries to contact Batou, who's in the bathroom searching for his weapon, but their mental communication suddenly fails. That means she's on her own, with the men harassing her and prodding her with an electric baton. Meanwhile, at the bar, Batou tries to restore their connection, but he's interrupted by other men who point a gun at his back. Back in the basement, Major fights back, taking on the men harassing her. At the same time, Batou turns the tables and begins fighting off his attackers upstairs. Once the enemies are defeated, Major regains the connection and heads to the back room. There, she has another vision of the Japanese temple, and behind it, she discovers Kuzu's hologram. Major fires at him, but suddenly a bomb is triggered remotely. Major wakes up again in Hanka's offices. Her body has sustained severe damage. Dr. Ouélet discovers that the brain glitches are still happening, indicating that something deeper is wrong. And Batou now has new robotic eyes.
Say something nice. They're tactical.
They suit you.
Yeah, I got night vision, Malisu, and X-ray.
Huh?
Later, the owner of Hanka Robotics makes a personal visit to Aramaki, where he essentially threatens him, saying that if anything happens to his valuable hybrid, Major, he will destroy Section 9 and everything it stands for, as she is the future of his company. The conversation continues, with Aramaki defending himself, arguing that the owner has no right to threaten him, as he answers to the minister, not to Hanka. Back in her apartment, Major is staring at herself strangely in the mirror. She then decides to go out into the street to a place where humans live. There, she encounters a woman and examines her closely, trying to understand what it feels like to be human. At the same time, Dr. Deline is reviewing the files they extracted from Major when Kuze suddenly appears out of nowhere, demanding they return what was taken from him. He then unalives her. The next day, as Major and Batou are driving, an agent informs them that another Hanka scientist has been killed, Dr. Daline. They learn she died while protecting a file, the confidential Project 2571, and the names of everyone involved in it. With this, Major realizes that the next target on Kuzi's blacklist is Dr. Ouélet. In the next scene, we see Kuzi remotely hack two other individuals, using them to attempt an assassination on Dr. Ouélet by making a truck crash into her car. The doctor survives the impact, but one of the hacked men gets out to finish the job. He threatens her with a gun, demanding she reveal everything she knows about Project 2571. Meanwhile, Section 9 rushes to the rescue. Major pursues one of the men hacked by Kuzi, intending to stop him from reaching the doctor. She catches up with him and gives him a beating that nearly kills him. However, her loyal partner Batou prevents anything worse from happening, reminding her they need him alive in order to finally track down Kuze. Just as they lock up the suspect, they confirm that he is nothing more than a vessel for Kuzi's brain hacking, as their interrogation yields no useful information, only confusion from the man due to the exchange of ideas. Essentially, Kuze erased his memory and implanted false ones to avoid leaving any traces. At one point, Kuze takes control of this man's mind to communicate with Major, which gives them the opportunity to trace the origin of Kuzi's signal. Unfortunately, once Kuze releases the man's mind, he takes his own life by snapping his neck with the cable he was tied up with. Despite this setback, Major and Section 9 head to the location they previously traced, arriving at a facility where illegal implants and operations were taking place. Once inside, they face off against several enemies in combat. Major walks forward, heading straight for the source of the signal, only to realize that she hadn't been able to track it earlier because Kuze had been using a network of people connected to a server to hide his location. To her surprise and to ours, several enemies appear and electrocute her, leaving her defenseless and unconscious. When Major wakes up, she finds herself immobilized, and that's when Kuz finally appears. She asks him who he is, and he tells her that he has lived many lives. He built that vast network to ensure his ghost could survive. As he removes his cloak, they both see that his synthetic body is nearly destroyed. The company's enemy is revealed to be another cybernetic being with a human brain, created in the same way as she was. Kuzi confesses to Major that she wasn't the first, nor the only one they tried to place a human brain into a synthetic body. They had experienced numerous failures before her. The company had experimented on many people before her, all of which ended in complete failure, including Kuzi himself. He then frees Major, and after shooting him and watching him survive, she approaches him and notices a tattoo of the same temple she has been seeing in her visions. He tells her that it's something that has haunted him for as long as he can remember, but he doesn't know exactly what it is either. He also tells her not to take the medicine they've been giving her, as it suppresses all of her past memories, preventing her from remembering anything like a normal person. After all, her brain is human, and she still retains her mind and soul, her ghost. Later, the rest of the Hanka team arrives, and Kuze manages to escape, but not before planting doubt in Major's mind. She decides to leave, separating from the team to go on her own, determined to investigate further and uncover whether everything Kuze said was the truth. Major arrives at Dr. Ouélet's house and asks her everything, from the visions she's been having to the exact words Kuze said. Dr. Ouélet finally admits it all, confessing that everything is true. Before Major, they had experimented on a total of 98 people, all of whom had failed. These were innocent people.
How many were there before me? 98 unsuccessful attempts before you. You killed 98 innocent people.
She then drops the bombshell about her parents, revealing that they hadn't died as Major had been led to believe. In reality, Dr. Ouélet doesn't know what happened to them or where Major came from when she was captured and taken to the lab.
My parents, the way they died. Did that happen? No, we gave you false memories.
At the same time, the entire Section 9 team learns that Major has gone missing, so Batou goes searching for her on a boat off the coast of the city, knowing that Major likes to dive into the deep sea when she's feeling overwhelmed or confused about something. Once he finds her, Major opens up and tells him everything, saying she doesn't know who to trust anymore.
Why didn't you stop him?
I don't know who to trust anymore.
Batou asks if she trusts him, and she replies with a firm yes.
You trust me, right?
Yeah, I do.
This leads Major to confess that she plans to get direct answers from Cutter himself. When Major arrives at the company, she realizes they were waiting for her. They capture her and lock her up. Cutter then decides to end Major's life, saying she's now useless to him, no longer the future of his company, and discards her. She's not the weapon he can control anymore. This leads to an argument between Cutter and Dr. Ouélet. She doesn't want to destroy Major and suggests they could just erase her memory and start fresh. But Cutter refuses. He tells her he will make a better weapon. He then gives her a substance to inject into Major to kill her. Dr. Ouélet doesn't listen to Cutter. Instead, she decides to risk her life to save Major. She helps her escape, giving her an address where she can find all the answers about her past.
Go!
Afterward, Cutter takes his revenge on Dr. Ouélet. He shoots her, killing her with a single shot. Later, Major goes to the address and meets a woman with a cat, just like the one in her visions. The woman tells Major that her daughter disappeared a long time ago, and even though the government had told her she was dead, she never believed it. She had always held on to the hope that her daughter was still alive. Before Major leaves, the woman tells her that she reminded her a lot of her daughter. When Major asks why, the woman replies that it was because of the way Major looked at her.
You remind me of her.
How do I remind you of her?
The way you look at me. Who are you?
I don't know.
As she leaves, Major contacts her boss, Aramaki, and they agree to make Cutter pay for what he has done, especially since he also framed Major for Dr. Ouélet's death. However, Cutter is listening to the conversation and takes advantage of the opportunity to capture Aramaki in his car as he's heading out to meet with the minister.
Don't say congratulations, but you know they watch.
Fortunately, Aramaki manages to get away unscathed and survives the encounter. Meanwhile, Major goes to a place where she starts to recall memories from her past. She discovers that many men had taken her and others years ago, all for experimentation purposes. In that moment, she realizes that Kuzi was part of that group and that they had once known each other and were very close, like family. She also uncovers that her real name is Motoko.
Your name was Hideo.
Motoko, that was your name.
Later, a robotic spider sent by Cutter arrives to eliminate both Major and Kuze. Although Kuze doesn't survive, Major does. Earlier, Kuzi had asked Major to join his network of servers to take revenge on the company and Cutter for all the harm they had caused them. But Major refused, stating that she still belonged to that place. Kuze accepts her decision, telling her that he would always be by her side before finally disconnecting.
Come with me. There is no place for us here.
No, I belong here.
I will always be there with you, in your ghost.
Batou arrives just in time to rescue Major, while Aramaki takes care of Cutter, ending the traitor's life once and for all.
My name is Major, and I give my consent.
Don't say congratulations, but you.
A few days later, Major visits Kuze's grave, after first visiting her own grave, which bears the name Motoko. She also meets her mother, and the two, now aware they are family, share a heartfelt embrace. As time passes, we see Major continue her mission as a city vigilante, capturing criminals and delivering justice alongside her team. And that concludes Ghost in the Shell. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell so YouTube can alert you when a new video is up. See you next time.